history is filled with people whose parents were not known, who barely could afford food, who didn't even go to school, who were dropped out. But in spite of all odds, they kept on keeping on. They held on to their belief. They held on to their thinking. And they ended wealthy here on earth. This one, a man called Leonardo DiCaprio, he grew up in a tough neighborhood in Los Angeles. He was surrounded by crime and poverty, but he became one of Hollywood's most respected actors with a net worth of over $245 million. That's wealth. A man from a poor background, surrounded by crime. That was enough excuse to end up poor, but he had a different mindset. And he chose to be rich. He thought of what to do. He allowed his thoughts to take over him. He ended up wealthy. You too can think and grow rich. How about Thomas Edison? I mentioned earlier, Thomas Edison, you and I knew that while in grade school, the teacher wrote him off and wrote a note to the mother that he shouldn't bring this child again to school. He doesn't know anything. And the mother became his teacher. And it's the same Thomas Edison that changed the world today. He gave us several inventions. But this is somebody that the academic system and the teachers of the day wrote off. He had enough reason why he should have been poor, why he should have been a nobody. But he never allowed that in his heart. He engaged in thoughts. His thoughts were productive, impactful, inspiring. No wonder he achieved greatness. If Thomas Edison can do it, you and I can do the same. How about Walt Disney? Walt Disney, raised up in a farm, Disney barely made ends to meet. Difficult to feed. But he became a successful animator and an entrepreneur. The Walt Disney Company we know of today, he's the founder. A man from a humble background. He has changed the face of the entertainment industry today for children and for adults. So what excuse do you have? What excuse do I have why we can't think and grow rich? Just think. There's enough that God has put in the brain here that can make you achieve anything you want to achieve. If you can conceive an idea in your mind and run with that idea, chances are you will end up 100% successful with that idea. How about Jack Ma? Jack Ma failed primary school exam 2 times. He failed middle school exam 3 times. He was rejected from Harvard University 10 times. But he went on to found Alibaba, a global e-commerce giant today. He continued believing in himself and his dream. And today, he changed the phase of business. He's a giant in e-commerce today. If Jack Ma can do it, you and I have no excuse. How about J.K. Rowling? Raised in a humble background, he struggled with depression and poverty, but he became a best-selling author of the Harry Potter series with a net worth of over $1 billion. Narendra Modi, an Indian that grew up in a disadvantaged castle. He worked with his father in his tea shop, but he ended up as a prime minister of India. From 70 in a remote area with his father, he ended up as a prime minister in India. How about Benjamin Franklin, a man that dropped out of school at age of 10? He became an indentured servant, but he went on to become a leading figure in American history today. He invented bifocal glasses. He contributed to the founding of the United States. We have millions of people who have changed the world in spite of their low background. How about Tony Elumelu? Tony Elumelu was born into a modest family. He became a successful businessman and a philanthropist. He founded the Heirs Holdings and the Tony Elumelu Foundation. He's a billionaire today. If Tony Elumelu, a Nigerian, can achieve that, you too can. I said it's irrespective of gender. And so a woman called Folorunso Alakija. From a humble background, Alakija is one of Nigeria's wealthiest women today. She has built a business empire in the oil and gas industry and in the fashion industry. So what excuse do you have? All of these people have destroyed every excuse that you and I can give. It's still in Nigeria. How about Wizkid in the entertainment industry? He grew up in Surulere, Lagos, in Nigeria. And then today is one of Africa's most successful musicians. And I dare say in the whole world. You know about Burna Boy. From a humble background, still from Lagos, Burna Boy has become a Grammy Award winner. JJ Okocha grew up in a modest family in Enugu, in the eastern part of Nigeria. JJ Okocha became one of Nigeria's most celebrated soccer players. He played for top clubs in Europe and represented Nigeria, the national team, in different tournaments. All of this is to tell you there's no excuse. How about Goodluck Jonathan? He told us growing up he had no shoe. From having no shoe, he ended up a president of Nigeria, most populated country in Africa. And after that, he has won several awards due to his effort to ensure peace. History has it, he's the first president in Nigeria that ensured a peaceful transition. He had all the chances to manipulate the system and the election to favor him. But he said his ambition does not want the blood of any Nigerian, any citizen. He stood for peace when all were calling for war and bloodshed. He has made a name. How about Pastor Iye Adeboye? He said the poor call them poor. And today, in the service of God, he has made a name. How about Matthew Ashimulawo? He has the largest church in the United Kingdom. From a humble background, back home in Nigeria. He said his father was a military man, was not doing well financially. In fact, according to him, they were struggling to feed. But that did not stop him. He achieved success. He became a global icon. His name is known all over social media. Has made him part in spite of his background. How about the current president of Nigeria? Yes, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Check history. He came from a humble background. Today, he is a father figure in Nigerian politics. He also served as governor of Lagos State. All of these people, dead and alive, are proofs to you and I that you can grow rich based on your thoughts. That you can achieve anything you want if you think and believe it. God created you and I to make impact, to dominate the earth. And that can only happen if you believe it in your mind, work on the dream God has put in you, in spite of what goes on around you. Instead of looking for excuses, instead of looking for why you cannot, look for why you can. Instead of asking yourself, can I? Tell yourself, I can. Let can I become I can. And then you can. You can if you think you can. And you cannot if you think you cannot. You are the architect of your destiny. No matter what goes on around you, what goes on inside you is more important. What you think is more important. I pray God gives you the wisdom to engage in thoughts that are productive and then end up making impact as God created you. May the generations unborn live to remember you for good, just as we mentioned and read of people who are long dead and gone, but their name continue to shape the way we live our life because they made impact. They used their mind positively. They thought wise. Now, is your tongue.